You're listening to Force Majeure, an actual play Star Wars podcast. My name is Adam and I'm your host, and today's episode will be brought to you after these words from our sponsors.
This Lothcat is alone. Abandoned to the elements, it can't find its way home. A Rancor, forced to live in a dungeon where it can barely move. He has never seen the sun. This Acklay was discarded once it outgrew its cuddly 2-foot stage. It has nowhere to sleep tonight. We are Galactic Animal Welfare, asking you to think before buying a pet as a gift. Remember, a pet is for life, not just for Life Day. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Ed Fortune, and you're listening to Force Majeure, and this is the Shadows of the Jedi campaign. I have some lovely players with me today, and they're going to introduce themselves and answer the simple question about their characters. If your character could perform a miracle, what would it be?
Hi, I'm Ross. I'm playing Dr. Smex Karam Danalawa, a Saurian consular healer whose emotional strength is his compassion and weakness is his obstinacy. If there was a miracle he was going to perform right now, it would be either get off this planet pretty quickly, because it's starting to look unpleasant, or make my head stop glowing before Roy looks at me again.
Your head has stopped glowing at the moment, therefore you are a miracle worker again.
Ooh.
Which?
The rumours are totally unfounded. And also I don't weigh the same as a duck.
Take us. My head's not glowing either.
Ooh. Surrounded by the occult.
Mim's going to be a second, so my name's Mikey, and I'm playing Kay. I'm a human warrior starfighter race. My emotional strength is my compassion, but my emotional weakness is my hatred. If Kay could do any sort of miracle, it would be to go back in time. He would change the way his life is going quite a lot earlier than he already has, which would mean he would be a completely different person. He would not have as much guilt and as much self-loathing as he has right now. He thinks about the mistakes he's made quite often, and whilst he can't change them, if he suddenly became a miracle worker, that's the first thing he'd do.
My name is Adam, and I'm playing Tychus Bar, a Basilisk Sentinel Artisan. My emotional strength is my bravery, and my emotional weakness is my recklessness. If I could do one miracle, well, I'm going to sound a bit like a broken record, because of course it's going to come back to Roy. It'd be one of two things. Either he'd make Roy real, not just a droid, but a real, probably a Basilisk, so they could actually be family, or he'd make himself be a droid.
I'm clearing up over here.
You could swap. No, well, that wouldn't work. No, that wouldn't work.
Are you saying that Roy's imaginary?
No, he's real, but not real like you are, because his forehead doesn't glow.
Oh, right, okay.
But no, so that they would be the same. I think he'd more like to make Roy be a flesh and blood basilisk, because though Tychus is aware that droids are viewed pretty much everywhere except his shop as second-class citizens, where they're viewed as people at all, and he wouldn't want that to continue. If Roy's going to be real, then Roy needs to be real, a real person with all the rights. Until that can happen, he's going to work on a secondary miracle, which is fighting for droid rights alongside Roy.
Hi, I'm Mim. I'm playing the B1 battle droid Roy. I have a specialisation as a bodyguard and a career as a hired gun, and I have an obligation of 40 to the Bar's family. If Roy could do miracles... Well, actually, to be honest, that question doesn't make much sense to Roy, because miracles are little understood scientific premises, but if I could be a superhero, which is how Roy understands this, if I had superpowers, I would be a time-travelling, animal-controlling, fireball-flinging mage. I'd be super cool and I could levitate. I'd be able to levitate and fire fireballs, and I'd be able to pick up things with my mind, and I'd be able to throw things with my mind and control things with my mind. I can pick up the things I'm controlling with my mind and get them to throw things with my mind. Yeah, I'd be awesome.
But I suppose being a basilisk could be cool as well.
One of the many flaws of the Galactic Empire, and indeed the Galactic Senate before it, is that the singular inability to deal with the problem of slavery across the galaxy. Slavery, alas, is still extremely profitable, and in this, Kena Bale is ahead of the curve. No money is made from slavery, they say in Kena Bale. Slaves are free on Kena Bale. Party, when we last left you,
That was a bit dark.
because it's been a jolly campaign so far.
Yeah, true. Sorry, carry on, sorry.
I'm having a whale of a time.
Don't worry, it gets more jolly and lighter. There's clowns next.
Oh, I don't think I can deal with hanging clown corpses, I'm sorry.
I absolutely can. I've got a huge gun.
Oh, yeah, we'll be fine, actually. Yeah, we'll be fine.
So, when we last left the party, there was a corpse hanging from some cables. They're in darkness. They're in a cargo hold. They can see the light behind them as the very orange sun casts onto the blue sands outside. Party.
Tychus,
Aye?
I've got my eyes closed at the moment. If I open my eyes, am I going to see a corpse?
I don't know. It's very dark in here, and so far, I mean, give me a second. I've got an idea. I reach into my pouch. I pull out 455. I activate him, and I flick the little switch at the back of his head that turns his main eye into a torch.
Okay.
And then I just put him on my shoulders and use him as a torchlight while he
It
chirps away
perches
happily.
parrot-like. It's big kind of lamp nose thing.
I slip it into like a papoose on my back so it leans over my shoulder, like one of those elevated halfling crossbow platforms.
I just realised you can't actually see how expectantly Roy is looking from dumbass to the doctor and to the doctor back at dumbass and like, I like you better.
Just to remind the listeners, it's a pit droid, basically, isn't it?
It
It's
is
like
a
a
pit
little pit droid.
That's
So
the
it's basically-
brightest thing he's ever done.
it's
Which one
basically
does Roy like better?
It's a spotlight with a helmet.
Yeah.
I like you, mate.
So yes, you cast a spotlight onto the area, and there is indeed, hanging from what appear to be rigging cables, a corpse. It's a weak ray.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a yes.
How did I know that was there?
Because spooky witchcraft, the same as the doctor. I don't know. A good guess? Have you read brochures?
No.
Come to Reza's heel, we hang weekway? I don't know.
I'm still not opening my eyes.
That's very wise. Well, it's not. You're going to fall down this sharp incline
Right.
and bounce off a crate. But tell you what, keep your eyes down, low, and we're just going to ignore this poor hanging wee fella.
No.
I presume he's dead.
So he has a look of, I think I described it last session as perfect terror. He looks like he's died of fear. How closely are you examining the corpse?
Well, from the doorway
Right.
through the extent of 455's light, I'm not moving any closer to him at the moment.
Kay opens his eyes. Kay's mostly freaked out, because he's seen dead things before. Yeah, he's seen lots of dead things before, but he's mostly freaked out that he knew it was there. We should find out why it died.
Okay.
Yeah?
You have a whole feeling you've seen this look on someone's face before. Not on a weak ray.
Yeah. I step into the room. Can you come with me with your light?
Aye, let's get him down.
Let's see if there's any more.
Do you cut him down?
We're going to slowly make our way over to him. How high up is he?
His head is at your head height.
Oh, so I can
He's-
go over and
He's fallen quite a way. Essentially, what's happened is the rigging lines have snapped, and then during the crash, all the other pinions have snapped.
So he's not a noose. He's not hung himself.
He's not hung
He's
himself.
fallen off something, and the ropes wrapped around his neck as he's gone down.
He's dangling
Has
from a harness.
anybody got a knife?
I got something better than that, and I pull out some bolt cutters because
Okay.
I presume it's a steel cable or steel equivalent space metal.
Plasty steel,
Yeah,
we'll
so
call it.
Reach up and chunk.
Okay.
Roy's going to turn to the doctor and go, so, this is kind of your area of expertise, right? Do you
We're a
want to
bit-
go look at it?
We're a little late for my area of expertise, but I'll have a look at it.
We could poke it.
Doctoring roll, please. Or medicine, as we call it. Your difficulty is 2.
Can we give him a boost die? Because we're helpfully pointing out he did. You don't need to check if there's still a pulse. That's one thing you don't need to focus on.
To be honest, I think you're probably going to get a black die from pointing out.
From
I'm
helping.
going to give you not a black die for the distraction. you should be fine.
I'm not helping, like you, but I'm not helping. I'm going to pull out my pistol and watch the corners.
Okay. You point your pistol at the darkness.
Oh, yeah.
He's dead.
Thanks, Doc.
I
have one failure.
Oh my god, this man's still alive!
I have one failure, that's it.
Okay, you have no idea
Yep.
how he died. And that's kind of confusing because on his chest there is a big scorch mark, but you don't think that killed him.
Right, okay.
But you don't know what did.
Okay.
Does this match with what I think it is?
It does match with what you think it is.
Right. Kay's not looking at the corpse quite obviously. You remember when we were in the bar and underneath the bar when Kay went a strange colour and ran away? Kay, if anybody's noticing, has got that same expression on his face as he did then.
Tychus reaches out one of his arms and kind of grips Kay's shoulder reassuringly. Hold it together, lad. Hold it together.
Roy's going to check the dead dude for stuff.
Okay. You loot the corpse, you adventure you. He is wearing a broken harness. He has a tool belt, and nothing that is more impressive than what Tychus already has. He has a data slate. It is broken. And he has a small hold-out pistol.
Nope.
And a knife.
Junk.
Does he have a comlink on him at all?
He does indeed have a comlink on him.
Could you find out, Kay's still not looking, could you find out what channel the comlink is on?
And you say there's a data slate there, but it's broken. Pass that over, Roy. Let me see what I can do here.
Okie dokie.
I'm going to take that in one of my hands. One of my other hands is still kind of gripping Kay's shoulder reassuringly. And then I'm going to walk Kay over to the door we came in from, to the light. Mm-hmm. And kind of, that's where I'm going to work. And kind of put my bulk in between Kay and the corpse. Just that giving him that space while I beaver away. And I'm going to try and get Kay to help me out. You might be filming. I mean, what's this protocol here? Are you familiar with it?
He's being fairly unresponsive, but while you work, he does talk. You want to do your roll first?
So, a couple of things happen. Firstly, your pit droid has detached itself and is just providing illumination. Mm-hmm. Because of that, I'm going to ask a group perception roll before we make the data slate roll.
So that again goes to 2 yellow provided by Mim. We'll use Mikey's cunning, so that's a green. So it's 2 yellows and a green.
No bonuses because this is passive.
And difficulty.
So do me and
yes, you can provide bonuses, but nothing for no equipment bonuses.
Okay, so it's 2 yellow, 1 green, 2 blue,
and difficulty 2.
4 advantage, 2 successes.
Okay, do you want to spend the advantage on more information? Because this is a passive roll.
Would you like to know some more?
Yes.
You all smell the fact that a great big explosion has gone off. Mm-hmm. Something has detonated here.
Right.
Looking up, because as you cut down, you're trying not to look at the body, so you look up, and quite clearly, at some point, the gantry gave way, there was an explosion, and then he swung down. Various crates have exploded, which is hence the jettism. This has been a forceful explosion, as literally the side of where you are now has ripped out.
Did the gantry fall before or after the explosion? As in, did the explosion cause the gantry to fall?
Or the gantry falling caused the explosion?
The gantry fell, then there was an explosion.
Right.
So the gantry might have fallen from the impact, and then there'd been an explosion shortly thereafterwards that's blown out the side of the ship.
Gantry wouldn't. Something has severed the gantry. It could have been the impact, but then it would have been crumpled on that side, and it's not.
Right, so yeah, gantry's fallen, then at some point thereafter there's been an explosion.
Then there's an explosion, then the ship crashed. There is one crate still unaffected by the explosion, partially because it's being thrown right into the corner. It is also close to the door. The rest of it is detritus. There is a mess here. There's not much left to recover.
Just one thing that suddenly struck me before we go and look at the other thing. Right, so we know they were carrying spice. We know some spice is inhaled. The spice crates, though, they were on the outside, weren't they? What I mean is that us walking around in here isn't going to get us all inadvertently jacked on spice.
Right, you would already be off your sensory organs had this been a hot spice zone. You'd have noticed as soon as you got into the area, if there was burning spice everywhere, you would have been spent most of this session and the previous session giggling. And it would have made you make giggling rolls.
While Roy just looks at us going,
Joining in the giggling, because you're a people person.
You're reasonably confident that this isn't a horrific spice hallucination.
Yeah.
I just thought we'd check what we're seeing and everything that's going on.
It's funny you should mention the smell, because it smells of burnt chrome and metal and burnt fuel, but doesn't smell of space fuel, of spacecraft fuel exploding. There's been an explosion, but you can't smell the thermite. You can't smell it's an unfamiliar...
It's not Tabana gas or...
Yeah, it's not Tabana gas. It's not anything that you would normally associate with this sort of catastrophe.
Right. I'm probably not the person to make the roll. I'm just the one that suddenly thought of the idea. You said that the crates of glass spice, I think it was...
glass powder.
Glass powder fell down, went boom.
Yeah.
For someone who might know about the explosive effects of glass powder, so potentially K, potentially the dock, would the explosions in here maybe look a bit like glass powder explosions?
Yeah. According to my notes, I described it as glass dust, but glass dust, glass powder.
Yeah.
It could be. I mean, there's a surviving crate.
Tychus, says Kay, looking off into the distance.
Aye.
When I worked as a pilot, we did a number of bombing runs. And one of the bombs we used, one of the ordnance that we used, is the reason I'm here today. When it landed, it was a smart weapon. It would pick traits from individuals that you could program, and it would terrify those people to death.
Ugh. That's just horrible. At least in a blaster fight you've got a chance to duck and cover, but something like that...
Imagine if they dropped it on Red Yes and just programmed it to kill all of the Basilisk. That's what it would do. It would leave the buildings intact. You would all just die. This poor man here, this is what's happened to him. If we're going to open that crate over there, we need to be very, very careful. However, if we're not going to open that crate over there, this ship cannot be intact when we leave it.
No, one way or another, that's... Well, I've got these grenades. One way or another, that's going bang. Assuming that's the weapon.
I'm not sure going bang is a good idea. I think we need you to use your tool belt, and we need to very carefully open that and see what's inside.
Well, right. Let's do that now. Rather than having it hanging, if we've got to get out of here because it starts singing at short notice, I'd rather have it done. So let's...
My problem is, if that exploded, I really doubt that they'd set it for Queequeg. So... it'll get everybody.
Aye. But again, at the moment, we've got time to take time. If we're on the run out, for whatever reason...
Yeah. This is more important than a giant slug. Even a golden giant slug.
Criff, yeah. Right. Let's get on it.
I'd like to... I don't know whether a check needs to be made just to see what state my companions are in this case, because this has suddenly changed things from we're a scavenger hunt to this is something a lot more serious than that. But I'm looking for symptoms of things like PTSD, that sort of thing in K.
Oh, you're seeing it. Everybody's seeing it in K.
But in the from sort of the clinical perspective is my thing.
I'm happy for you to make a medicine roll.
Do a straight medicine check then?
Straight. Make a straight medicine check, please.
It's probably a good idea for you to be on top of these things, because maybe it'll come in handy later if you can say you pinpointed these behaviours and knew what to expect.
Well, yeah, it's that and whether I need to sort of...
There's anything you can do.
I've got force influence. Do I need to project calm, cool, that sort of thought into while we're working? Was there a difficulty associated with this as well?
A 1, because it's fairly obvious. It's more applying your knowledge to the information.
2 successes and 3 advantage.
Okay, so I'm going to give you 2 blue dice that you can keep on influencing K, should they freak out. I'm going to give you a general blue dice that you can influence on the rest of the party in effects related to fear, should you use influence. Also, it occurs to you, using your professional skill, that you have just the right sedative in your kit bag, should it be required.
Okay.
You know what to administer. It would be different for Bar than it would be for K, and obviously there's nothing you can do about it.
Right, I mean, in a minute this is just observation, but there's nothing I immediately need to do.
So looking at Kay, Kay is speaking very carefully and very softly, but you can see, for example, his jaw is clenched. He is quite clearly living a nightmare that he's ignored for a long time. He is as close to a freak out as possible.
That sounds like there's an immediate situation, and I would like to start calming him down. This is a power that the Doc's felt before, but isn't aware that it's a force power when he's using it.
Right, so you're drawing upon your...
This is just a straight force influence to apply calm, tranquility, friendliness.
Okay.
Your brain's going to explode.
So basically, the power doesn't quite work the way that you want it to because you don't have the relevant skills.
Okay.
I will allow you to make a roll to emanate from yourself personally an aura of chill, but this is mostly a cosmetic effect. So you can draw upon the force and this inner light within you to generate chill, but it's up to the other characters to decide whether that helps them.
Maybe that could give us assuming he gets light side points, maybe boost die to resilience or cool or discipline.
Yeah.
Should that come up to resist fear? Something like that, perhaps?
Yeah.
So for this, it's just a flat roll your force die. 2 light side points, is that?
2 light side points.
Your medical knowledge has told you should maybe try and be a force for good, and then you've drawn upon yourself to be essentially the little glowing avatar of chill. And I'm afraid I'm going to have to do it because it's funny. He's glowing again.
Assuming you're spending those light side points.
Yes, I'm spending those light side points. I hadn't realised I was going to light it when I did it, but that's becoming a thing now.
That's really handy, Doc, thanks. It's quite dark in here.
Am I doing that again?
You are. What were you thinking of when you started glowing?
How anxious everybody else in the room was. That's not really encouraging.
He seems really calm, though.
Yeah, you've distracted him. And he was in his own little world of self-loathing and hate, and now he's kind of like, oh, you're glowing. Oh.
Which is weird, because the Doc himself is now becoming a lot more frightened.
It's weird that your glowing has brought Kay back down to earth. That doesn't really make sense. It's brought him back into the normality of the situation. Doc, we might need your steady hands on this. We're going to go and open that crate.
Aye.
Okay.
Let's walk over. Okay.
It's locked with both a mechanical lock and it's got a security lock on it as well. That will require slicing.
The first thing I want to actually do, if at all possible, I assume it's probably going to be a multi-stage doofer, is if I can fix or patch into the broken data slate, because I'm running on the assumption that this Weequay was a crew member.
Yep.
So it's a logical step from there that this Weequay might well have some of the access codes, or especially given I've probably still got some of those access codes floating around from when I hacked K2. Can I argue for a boost die?
Yeah, no problem. You can use the data slate and the information you got from K2T2. So it's 2 difficulty and also 2 boost die.
Any setback?
No setback.
I've got technical aptitude, which means I reduce the time it requires to do it.
So the actual physical lock is bent. It's a bar that has become bent on the crate. So you will need assistance from someone strong.
Roy, what are you, Braun?
3.
It's a 2-person job because you need to wrench the literal bar. But firstly, you need to do the actual.
So, this is the data slate first of all. 2 success, 1 advantage.
How would you like to spend the advantage?
First of all, I get the data on the slate, and that advantage is that yes, there are some of the useful codes for the security lock on here, which will give me a blue die to cracking the security lock on the crate.
He's left a file called passwords on the slate. It has passwords. They're mostly for crates, and they've got the crate code on as well.
Before you go any further, Kay takes a long swig of his hip flask to steady his nerves. His hand stops shaking, and I would like to move my force die into my agility.
Okay, so that will also allow you to type in the code, and the lock demagnetizes.
Oh, cool.
All you have to do is to physically open it, but you're going to have to yank it because it's physically broken.
So is this athletics then?
Yes.
So what's your athletics, Roy?
It's rank 2, so I get 2 yellows and a green.
Nice. So will you roll it with a boost die from me then, because you've got more ranks than I have?
Alright, and what's the difficulty?
2.
Oh, stiff bugger. 2 success and 1 advantage.
The advantage, if you don't mind me spelling it for you, is that you do it smoothly. Because you could just wrench it out, but the whole thing would rattle. And you have a feeling you don't want it to rattle. And instead, it just kind of, you're able to pop the lock at the top and then just feed it out.
Do we get an atmospheric squeak?
Yes, from Kay.
And then the doors open with a squeak. It is, for your reference, essentially a large shipping container style crate. The lights turn on as the door opens, and you see...
Criff, that's bright!
You see chains and chains of glass. So it's like a glass rod suspended on a chain, then another glass rod suspended on a chain, going all the way down, and then going all the way down again. You have to carefully cycle through to get to each rod.
How have these not smashed when the crate's impacted?
To answer your question, some of them have, and there is powder on the floor.
Can we get by the rods? Can we see there's anything else deeper inside the...
This is the cargo.
And this is the this is the bomb. Is this what...
What they are on the floor and inside each glass container, looking carefully, is sand, which is weird because you wouldn't move sand to Cinnabelle. It's got loads of it. Mm-hmm. Cinnabelle needs no more sand.
Yes.
However, the more you look at it, the more it looks crystalline, suspended in what appears to be maybe water, some sort of liquid. These are just tiny bits of crystalline particulate.
Because I don't get affected by toxics and things, can Roy just wander up, take a handful, and run it through his data goggles to see
Yes, you can.
Pinpoint what it is? So what difficulty then, please, and what skill am I using?
It's 2. You're using law.
Standard difficulty?
2, yeah.
Could Kay give her a boost die because he might be familiar with this?
Kay's not familiar with the exact mechanics.
No.
That's 1 success and 1 advantage.
Kay's a delivery
You have a
man.
very, very faint idea that you know what this is. The word that pops up is kyber crystal powder.
Roy jumps straight up, dusts it off his hands, and walks back to the group.
When you clap your hands, by the way, tiny sparks appear.
He puts his hands behind his back and walks back to the group.
What is it, Roy?
Well, you know those, you know the old stories with the magic crystals and the stuff? It's the magic crystal stuff. I think those are magic crystals.
Magic crystals?
Oh, years and years and years and years and years and years ago, magic rocks. The wizardy people use them.
Don't know what you're talking about.
The Jedi?
Yeah, the wizards. That's them. You remember the old stories?
The ones in their light swords?
This
Yeah,
isn't
some
a
of their-
Jedi weapon. I'm fairly sure.
What's the word? Kai. Kay, help me out with this. Kai.
You were looking for my name, is it?
Kyber. That's it.
Kyber?
Yeah, they were like the batteries for all of their stuff.
Aye, that was what was in their laser swords, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm.
I seem to recall. The folks had a few run-ins with that sword during, the whole unpleasantness before the Empire came up.
Is that all that was in those? They just...
That looks more like a
tubes.
powder rather than a full-on crystal, though. I mean,
Just to define, each one of these rods contains small grains of a substance.
Mm-hmm.
And we're talking grains, tiny grains,
Yes.
in a suspension, some of which are on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
These
Yeah.
tiny grains. You can see them because they're quite bright,
Yes.
but they're tiny.
are they reflecting any more or less the light from Dr. Curram's head compared to the light from 455's torch?
Funnily enough, yes, they're catching the light from Dr. Curram's head quite well. Bit shinier.
Since I'm not really seeing the light from my own head at this point, but nevertheless, I've got a question. Do I think this dust resembles the dust I pulled out of those people several episodes ago?
Ish.
Yeah. Okay.
You're already sitting there going, well, it's exotic matter. It's more exotic matter.
Okay, well, Kay, it looks like you were right, and this is the rest of the weapon, or at least this is some of the weapon.
Yeah.
Now, you're saying we can't burn it, because that'll get in the air and people will breathe. In fact, let's all step away, and then I close the top so that there's no risk of us breathing the dust that's spilled. Mm-hmm. Or not any more risk. I suppose if we have, then we can't put the cark back in the bantha. But, yeah, I went there.
That's not a medical procedure I'm familiar with.
There's several holovids that you might be. Right, so we can't blow it up because then it'll get in the air, and then we might get like what happened at Vin's Fort.
Mm-hmm.
We can't burn it because a similar thing, perhaps, if it gets in the air, maybe. How do we get rid of this in a way that's not going to horribly, horribly kill everyone on the planet?
I've got another question when I've got time to ask outside of when we backed out of the crate.
We're all out of it, and the crate's been closed again.
Okay. I want to ask this question to Kay very calmly, but it's a suggestion, but I don't want to upset, or, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Let me run this theory past you.
Yeah.
Is it possible someone was trying to dispose of this ship and this weapon by dropping it on this world? Because, as you said, if when it looks destroyed, it looks like glass dust. There's already plenty of glass dust here. Nobody would notice what it was before. Is it possible someone's tried to dispose of this weapon here already, and this is impacted the result?
Difficult to say, but this is a very effective weapon. If you were the Empire and you had a very effective weapon, would you try and get rid of it?
No. I tell you what, I'm just asking what may have happened here in this particular specific case. For all I know, some rebels managed to destroy this thing.
Maybe.
Might be another weapons test. Like a dispersal test? Because it could well have come down from that rain. So if they're trying to see what, like an environmental method rather than a direct bomb, perhaps. How do we get rid of this safely? I mean, why it's here? Okay, I'll be honest with you. Why it's here? What it's doing here? They are not questions that I am concerned with at this moment in time. That is for future Tychus to fret about. Present Tychus wants to know how we destroy this in the least dangerous way for us and everyone else on this planet.
Well, I'm not affected by any toxic things. I could just walk in there and smash them.
Aye,
but then if it gets out in the air, I mean...
Can I have warfare rules from party and see if this talk of Jedi and lightsabers and kyber crystals sparks anything? Difficulty is going to be at least 2, I'm afraid.
So, warfare or law?
Warfare.
Okay.
When you say at least, do you mean 2 or 3?
I mean 2.
Can I have a boost die because of my parents having told me some of the stories?
Yes.
I know a lot about this type of weapon. Can I also
Boost
have a
die.
booster?
I just read a lot online about this kind of weapon. Can I have a booster die?
Go on, because you've got the goggles as well.
Oh, you've got the Sil Zero blues.
I have 1 success.
I got distracted by Lost Cat videos again.
Well,
Well, yeah.
a success is a success.
A success
It's
is a
just
success,
The
but-
limited number.
Yeah. 1 success. Any more?
I have 1 advantage.
1 advantage.
1 success, 4 advantage.
Gosh. So on 1 success, you remember that it explodes really easily, which you kind of already know. With your full lot of advantage, this stuff just explodes. Like, without being treated. The reason it's so rare is it wants to just explode. And that's not part of any exotic process. The reason that kyber crystals are so rare is because what they do is they sit there until someone comes along, and then you put energy into them, and they take energy lovely until they explode. The smaller they are, the more likely they are to go pop. So a big crystal will give you a big explosion. Lots of little crystals will give you lots of little explosions. What's probably happened here is that they're unstable. They're very, very unstable, and they've all been exposed to something that's made them go pop.
Hence them being carried in the solution.
Yes.
Logically extrapolating out, if I was to make these go bang, it would destroy them rather than disperse them.
Yes.
Okay, right.
It's an external treatment, clearly, that makes them go black from what you've been talking about. Otherwise, the stories would be of Jedi causing darkness everywhere they go, which is not what the stories are about.
Aye, but the story's also about them turning the lightsaber on and then blowing all the hands off.
That's true. It is explosive.
Babies.
Right. I reckon if I make these things go bang, then they're not going to get dispersed in the atmosphere, rain down and cause whatever the criff was going on at thenceforth. They're just going to be disposed of. So, I've got these grenades. As we're leaving, I can put them on a timer, lob it in the crate, lock the crate again and cheese it.
Yeah.
Do you want to take a little? I mean, I don't know. Imagine what you could do if you could modify a blaster to work off a tiny bit of this.
No.
We're always in the market for new weapons. These could be super shiny.
Roy. No.
We're not talking big ones, Kay. I mean, just little. Just me. Just
Terrify people to death.
Not that kind of weapon. Just shoot them to death like normal. Only shiny.
We're destroying all of this.
Roy's going to surreptitiously check his hands.
So you have burn marks in your hands. It's almost like you put your hand in what was essentially explodey powder, and they exploded, because at this size, it's explodey powder.
Tychus is clearly quite torn in some ways about this, but after a few moments of thought, kind of goes, no, we'll trash it. We'll trash it. There are cleaner ways to make better weapons.
Fair.
Also, if the Empire finds out you've got this, they'll just destroy the planet. They'll wipe everybody out off the planet like they've already tried from testing this.
Roy's a little upset that they don't seem to get the concept that he doesn't want this exact weapon. He just wants like a pocket cool version of shiny, and he's kind of he's clearly okay.
Skullduggery check.
You may make a skullduggery check.
The difficulty is my perception.
I was about to say, what is your perception?
So it is only an average. It's only two purple.
I'm going to say 2 purple plus because glowing and light and pit droid. 2 purple plus 2 black.
Yeah, and it's not a passive thing. I'm staring straight at you.
It's okay.
By glowing and stuff, you still mean because it's reflecting off me?
Yeah, you're still glowing.
Yeah, okay.
Roy's shuffling his feet a lot.
Tychus, at this point, is walking over to the big door.
Yeah.
Basically to the thingamabob, and we'll be taking 455 with him.
Okay.
Okay, so I've got 2 black dice, 2 purple dice, and I get to defeat this by 1 yellow and 1 green.
Spend a light side point to
Yes.
upgrade that
Oh,
creature.
thank you very much.
Yes, I think adding to the dark side is possibly exactly what you're doing right now.
Yes, I'm taking another yellow and changing that green to a yellow.
I mean, I'm not trying to lead Roy astray, and Tychus hasn't suggested this himself, but we know how our
Oh
minds work.
dear. So that is a what?
That's just 3
Threat.
3 threat. Yeah.
So what exactly were you doing?
It occurred to him that he might have been fortunate enough to walk over some fragments and was hoping that maybe they were trapped in his shoe, or he was trying to wipe his hands and all of his body subtly to try and get
Have you
any.
blown your arse off?
He was touching himself in subtle ways to try and find any fragments of the kyber crystal.
So what
Well, if
you
anything
watched
happens to one of your hands right now, we've got spares.
is you watch the droid pick up its foot, look at you, point in another direction,
I do not look away.
and then slowly but surely start to wipe off the sludge that has some of the dust on its foot. At which point, its hand explodes. Your hand's on fire. You're made of metal. It's fine, but your hand is on fire. Your foot is now on fire. You try and put it out. Your other hand is on fire.
I shoved them into the corpse to put the flames out.
You run over, leaving little fiery footprints to the darkness, and then suddenly there's more fire as you set fire to a body. This has gotten very dark. Well, it's not. It's illuminated by flame, but
Hey, Doc, I'm glowing.
and I think we'll leave it there.
Force Majeure is played using the Star Wars Force and Destiny game system by Fantasy Flight Games and Lucas Books. Our intro music for the rest of this season is Superpower Cool Dude by Kevin MacLeod, and our outro music remains Suburban Outlaw by Forget the Whale, both used with gratitude under the Creative Commons license. A number of our ambient sounds and sound effects are provided by Sirenscape, because epic games deserve epic sounds. For episode-specific credits for music, please see the show notes, and also the credits page of our website at forcemajeurepod.com. If you like the show and want to support us, there's a few ways you could do that. The first is by rating and reviewing wherever you find us, be it iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, Podbean, wherever. That helps other people find us and lets us know that we're telling the sort of stories that you enjoy hearing. We do have a Patreon page at patreon.com/forcemajeurepod, and also a Ko-fi account at ko-fi.com/forcemajeurepod if you've got some change burning a hole in your pocket and want to throw it our way. We appreciate all the support. We do have social media presences. The easiest way to find us is on Twitter at ForceMajeurePod. We do also have a Facebook page and an Instagram page and a Discord server. Links to all of these are contained in the show notes. Come along and talk nonsense with us. We always like to hear from fans of the show. And until next time, may the Force be with you.